Hello, everybody. Hi. How's it going? My friends, welcome to tonight's discussion, collaboration. It's a heavy one. So I want to begin by letting you guys know I have a story time coming up. It's going to be kind of a lengthy story time compared to my other videos here at Veronica Rae. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to post it at Intuitive Pathways. I might. It's a big one. And it's going to be a combination between a story time and informational video that's going to cover a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. So the reason why I'm doing a live first before I did the video, I actually did record it already. I'm going to be very picky about it. I'm going to want it to be a trilogy. I'm going to have a few different videos. So, again, it's going to be a combination between story times and informational. I have my crown chakra pen today. It's not as purple as the crown chakra, but a crown chakra pen tonight. I got some notes down, but I just don't feel like the notes will do this conversation justice. I want to start off by saying that people, right, humans are not gifts from God. Okay, think about this. People are not gifts from God. So when you meet someone, you may think, oh my God, they're so wonderful. It's like God gave me a gift. That's fine. But when someone actually believes that they're responsible for your happiness because they introduced you to your narcissist, well, they're even worse than the guy or girl you're with. So you can have someone that's introduced you to your husband or wife, and if it weren't for them, you wouldn't have what you have, and how dare you be ungrateful for the abusive piece of shit they sent you, right? Let's start there, okay? Can you see me at all? Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to switch back and forth to the chat. I don't know. I hope you can see me now. But basically, that's my opener tonight is people are not gifts from God, contrary to what a lot of people fucking believe about themselves and what they believe you should believe, what they want you to believe. No one's a gosh darn gift. I almost said goddamn. Maybe I should say it, goddamn gift, because that's really what it is like damned when you're involved with a narcissist, whether it's the person that hooked you up with one or the one that you're with. So remember I said that. And yes, I'm drinking coffee. I want to check the chat. I want to be able, you guys see me, right? Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. I haven't seen everybody yet. So here's the thing. Oh, I know. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can't change a setting there, hopefully. Okay. So what I want to talk about first and foremost is people who get stuck with narcissists have a slight weakness. Now, nobody jumped down my throat yet. This is a universal weakness. This is something every human has. It's called an ego. And our egos will dictate our insecurities, our happiness, our self-confidence in every way, or everything that goes through our psyche, right? So everybody's got the ego. That is everybody's weakness. So we're all fucking built the same, essentially. It's just some people may have more money than the others. Some people may look better, based on what society deems as beautiful. There's a lot of things that play into general narcissism in our society today. Instagram is number one. You see those cute little bitches up on Instagram and you're like, damn it, if I don't look like that dumb bitch, nobody's going to want me. You know what I mean? And then they often get misconstrued for narcissists because they're taking pictures of themselves and putting themselves on Instagram. No, not everybody's a narcissist who does that. I do it, right? I might have narcissistic tendencies at times when I get in the zone in my career. I can tell you straight up, yeah, I get very tunnel vision at times. However, I still have the ability to step back and deal with the real world in many different elements. So let's talk about narcissism. It gets misconstrued, and I want to look at my notes real quick. It gets misconstrued all the time. People like to throw that word out there as if they're a fucking psychologist. I am very careful of when I call someone a narcissist. In a psychic reading, when I'm doing tarot cards, there are certain cards that will come up, but I am not labeling everybody as a narcissist. I'm very clear because I know that people have bad fucking days, weeks, months, years, centuries. It happens. Not everybody's a fucking narcissist, but it gets misconstrued for simple conceit because, we all have those moments, right? Especially when we're talking to our friends, men too. And it also gets misconstrued as a male thing. Men, how do I word this? Men come through more so than women. Women are narcissistic too. Women can actually be borderline personality disorder. People don't realize this. I don't know why they want to label the dudes and not the bitches, because let me tell you something. With my experience, I've had more experience with narc bitches than dudes. The women have been outrageous, and you're going to hear some of my story time, and it's insane what I've been through with women. It's like, are you fucking kidding? It's insanity. So it gets misconstrued for, conceit, vanity, the time monopolizer. Yeah, those could be, temporary things. When someone has narcissistic personality disorder, this is who they fucking are. And the chances of them changing are slim to fucking none. Can they get help and change? Sure. It's going to take them forever. It didn't take overnight for them to become a narcissist. It's not going to take overnight for them to snap the fuck out of it. So I would implore you, if you are dealing with someone like this, or, because it can be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your best friend, male or female. It can be your lover, your ex. It could be you. Everybody has tendencies. But I want you guys to understand that it's hard to put a label on that unless you're going through a certain process with that person. Now, there's the narcissist, then there's narcissistic abuse. And then the effects of that, which would be your PTSD. And there's another misconception there, is that PTSD is just for veterans or just for people, that have been through major, major traumas, and not something that's subtle, like gaslighting, like narcissistic abuse, or, being controlled in some way anyway, by a circumstance, by yourself. So I'm saying that it doesn't have to be some crazy drama that everybody would understand. Because to be honest with you, if you're a victim of this, no one's going to understand it. The common person has not dealt with this. Believe it or not, it's turning into some huge outrage, and it's like a thing anymore. Everybody's like, yes, it's me too. Like we've got our own Me Too movement with the narcissistic personality disorder, gaslighting, all that stuff. And it's like a phenomena or something. But I don't know. I didn't watch the movie, but when you do the research on gaslighting, it comes from a movie where the guy was fucking with his wife and messing with the lamps in the home and fucking with other stuff, like taking her shit and putting it back, like stuff like that, just to fuck with her head. And they called it gaslighting, and then it became a thing. And gaslighting is one of the things that narcissists do to control their victims. And I want to talk about gaslighting more so than all the other things that mental abusers do, because, and like I said, I've got a trilogy coming, so we're going to cover so much shit over time. But today we want to talk about gaslighting, because you can gaslight someone verbally and physically. Physically, by not ever touching a fucking hair on your head, but threatening to, in a way where someone acts like, ooh, I had an emotional meltdown, you should forgive me. I almost hit you, but I didn't. I wanted to throw you off the bed, but I didn't. Just enough to not get the fucking cops called, right? Has anybody gone through that? I'm sure you guys have got your hands in the air like, are you fucking kidding me? You could be abused by your mom, your dad, or whatever, and it's all mental. And that PTSD and that gaslighting is going to fucking trigger you as an adult. We've got so much shit. But the gaslighting energy there is trying to get someone to second guess their reality. I literally had someone look at me in the face and tell me I was living in a totally different reality than the real world. And I looked at them and I was like, motherfucker, really? Literally, they told me that to my face, and I thought, nice try, douchebag. But that's not true. So the point to gaslighting is to get you to second guess your reality so that you become weak and dependent on your abuser. It's like people who threaten to, and this is a mental abuse thing, not a physical one. They threaten to physically abuse you, but don't. Because they want you afraid that they will, so that you don't leave them, so you don't take your kids and run, so that you don't take all the money and run, so that you don't find someone else. You see what I mean? All of these things is to turn you into a psycho so that they can smear campaign you. The narcissist is known to do this, so they can go around and say, look at how crazy my girlfriend is, my brother is, my, whoever. Like, people do this to their own family members. This is not just about romance. Okay, it's not going to be a husband-wife thing, boyfriend-girlfriend thing, partner thing. It's going to be an everybody thing. Okay, I hear it all the time. My mother was a narcissist. Okay, she probably was. Especially in the generation that we are in. Most of us are middle-aged people. Most of us. Some of us are younger. Some of us are baby boomers, and in that other range. And I feel like the old school people dealt with this more so than we do now, because, well, nobody cared then. You just sucked it up. You got abused and you fucking dealt with it. And then you had your kids, and then you had your triggers, and you didn't take care of it because you didn't know how to take care of it. Now we have support systems. We have the internet, which, by the way, is actually a problem for people who are, used to getting sucked in or hoovered by a narcissist or groups of narcissistic people or whatever it is. If you've got a history of it, or if you've got a pattern of attracting those yahoos, So the internet's good and bad for that. It's like anytime you go into like a mental health group online, you always get those, and you're with other victims, you always get, narcissists and abusers who go and try and seek out those people too. So there's a lot you have to do to protect yourself. But today, the gaslighting situation it's very simple. I want to talk about it because almost in every reading I give everywhere, whether it's private or public, someone's always talking about it. And the reason why people do it is to gain control over someone else because they're too fucking lazy and weak to do what they need to do for themselves. If they can control someone else, they're feeling powerful. They don't come into their power by being successful at a project at work. Like, for example, me. I feel no matter how many subscribers I have, if I have people willing to come see me, I'm successful. I don't have to have millions. I really don't. It'd be fun, but it would be interesting and maybe a little scary, but I feel successful. I have people in my life, or had, I should say, sometimes they're still there, whatever, that want to see nothing but failure out of me. They don't want me to be happy for any reason. It has nothing to do with us having a personal connection, because I was abused by people I've never met. Now listen to me. Listen to what I just said to you. I was abused by people I never met in person. Part of the story time. I'm not going to tell you everything right now tonight because we have a lot to get through. You can be abused by people on the internet, or people that get on the phone with you, pretend to be clients or friends, pretend this, that, and the other, pretend to love you, but really they're there because they think you're a sucker. I've actually been called a sucker, and I laugh on the inside. I'm like, dude, I never believed you to begin with. Fuck off. So we're going to talk about gaslighting, and we're going to start with the verbal gaslighting. And I don't think I have those notes. I have more notes on PTSD and dealing with the narcissist, which we're going to do later. We're going to end it talking about how to deal with these fuckers. But let's talk about where you meet these fuckers. You meet them through other people, through friends, through work coworkers, okay, and the internet. Those are the top 3 places you're going to meet most of the people that prey on other people, okay? Why? Because there's a lot of insecurity online. People are always trying to be better and one-upping and hiding behind a mask, right? On the internet. At work, people put on the mask, the face. You know what I mean? Like they will fuck you over, throw you under that bus and walk all over you and do what they have to do to, you're a stepping stone to them, right? They'll fucking gaslight the shit out of you at work. Corporate America, that blows. I'm so glad I'm not in it. They're everywhere. Who said that? Tiki? Fuck yeah, they are. They're fucking everywhere. And some of them become like crazy stalkers too. So, I mean, I know a lot of us have dealt with the stalking as well. And remember what I said, though, the gaslighting is a subtle thing. And of course, the number one thing that a gaslighter will do, I hope someone knows this already, is deny. Number one thing. So if you're being gaslighted by someone for real, they will deny your truth till they fucking die. Like, you are not telling the truth. You are making shit up. You're a fucking liar. Anything you say will be twisted or turned into. Not only is it your fault, whatever happened, but you're wrong because that fucking shit didn't happen because you're crazy, paranoid. Listen to me. Crazy, paranoid, psycho. Yes. Quick story. I had a motherfucker that I talked to about gaslighting, and then they tried to gaslight me. And they tried to gaslight me by calling the National Gaslighting Hotline and pretended to be gaslighted by me. Seriously, I called them out on their hoovering bullshit and all their lies, and then they were like acting like the abused one. Right? Anybody go through that shit? Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck? That shit happened to me. What a douchebag, right? Number one, you're crazy. It's your fault. If you didn't do something else wouldn't have happened. Let me tell you something. No accountability on the narcissist's part. The person that's trying to go out of their way to gaslight you, to try and change the reality into you're the crazy one, because when you leave them, everybody around you is going to think you're nuts, and no support. Remember this, the rug under your ass, no support. That's why they're doing it. So raise your hand if you're sure, bitches. Yeah? Right? Therapy is the number one thing the narcissist will do. Say that they will literally say you're the reason why they have to go to therapy, or I went to therapy for you, right? And then lie to the fucking therapist. Literally look at the therapist and fucking lie. Why? To have it on record that you're crazy. They will start a fight in front of your therapist. You're going into marriage counseling? I don't know about that. If you're with a narcissist and you know it, you're with a gaslighting motherfucker and you know it, I would say that therapy is probably the wrong thing for you to do with them. I would say go separate. So, good news, at least in the United States of America, if you're going through a divorce, you are not required to go to therapy to look good to the judge or magistrate when it comes to child custody or other matters pertaining to your property or funds, okay? So let's talk about that. If you're in the US, you are not required to go to a therapist. I don't know about other countries, but if you want to protect yourself, you don't have to go to therapy to prove shit. I would absolutely avoid going to therapy with your narcissist, because if you do want something on record, the crazy shit will come out on record. Don't do that, okay? People are too afraid to talk about this. People are too afraid to give advice on this. I have no problem giving advice on this, and I'm going to be right about it, and I will be accountable for the advice I give. You need to protect yourself at all times, but not be paranoid just because someone wants you to feel paranoid. One of the ways you're going to know that you're with a narcissist who's gaslighting you. Remember, you could be with a narcissist who doesn't even fucking care about you enough to gaslight you. Let me just say, those who are being gaslighted, that's an extra step. Congratulations, let that ego, get bloated just a little bit. They actually give a fuck, right? A little bit more than the normal narcissist that doesn't give a fuck. Normal narcissists literally have no emotions. If they cry, it's like forced, they're an actor. You know what I mean? They don't give a flying fuck about anybody but themselves, and it's obvious. And they're grandiose. And they want everybody to think they're a victim. You know, any chance they get to be a victim, they take it immediately. So, you know, there's that. Then there's the narcissist who will gaslight your ass out of insecurity, fear. And so everything they're doing to you, trying to, you know, implement doubt into your brain, fear, insecurity, you know, like the husband or wife that wants you to think that they can get another person, that they're cheating on you at work, like something you can't prove. You know what I mean? So they do that just to try and instill fear and insecurity, because they feel that insecurity too. If you're rising to the top in your career, but they're down here and they're a fucking narcissist who's going to gaslight you, what do you think they're going to do to you? Right? They're going to treat you like a damn child. They're going to, you know, demoralize you any way they can. They're going to take your achievements and treat them like they're nothing. Or they're going to pretend to give a shit but not. Or they're going to sabotage you. Remember, the gaslighters go the extra step, right? That extra step. So what? They go the extra step. It doesn't mean that you deserve that. And it also doesn't mean, we're going to talk about that in a minute, it doesn't mean that that's love. So what? They're going the extra step. Then they're extra insecure, extra phony, extra stupid, and extra weak. And they want you to feel those things. And it doesn't matter what kind of emotional or mental abuse you're going through, or what type, like we could put different labels on all these different abuses. That's a word, right? We can do that. But we will be talking for the rest of our lives tonight. You'll never go to bed and you'll have nightmares. So we're not going to do that. So remember one thing before we move on to, you know, I'm going to go all over the place, by the way. Before we move on to another topic, you know, umbrellaed under all this stuff, it's never your fault, ever. Do not apologize for being happy, successful, having friends, having support, having, you know, love for yourself, because in your 40s, it's taken you your whole life to get there. In your 50s, you're finally saying, go fuck yourself. In your 60s, you're relaxing. This is, you know, the majority. In your 20s, you're learning. In your 30s, you're adapting. And you should be able to go through these phases without people sticking a torch up your asshole and trying to burn you from the inside and torture you, right? I just made that up. I hope that had some sort of effect on you guys. This is the most disgusting form of abuse I've ever seen. I understand physical abuse, right? People lose their minds and slap the shit out of people. I understand that. I don't condone it, and I think it's horrible to do. But usually people who are physically abusive have a history of being abused themselves. Yes, it's possible that mental abusers are that way, but usually they're the spoiled fucking brat from high school that got fat after high school. You know, the football player that turned into a 400-pound piece of shit. And I say that because they're the ones that treat the beautiful people like crap. Like they, you know, they'll sit there and tell you to lose weight, but they're like 400 pounds. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like horrible people. But by now, 30, 40s, you should know better. Don't abuse other people just because you gained 300 pounds since high school. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you become a piece of shit when you overstep your boundaries. So let's talk about boundaries. So we want to talk about noticing the signs and creating boundaries for gaslighting and protecting yourself against the narcissist who's trying to go out of their way to confuse you, control you, monopolize your time, manipulate you into thinking that you can't be anything without them, or they'll actually go out of their way and tell you that nobody else will want you the way you are. You're such a bitch. You're such a horrible person. No one's going to want you. Okay, you did. But, you know, anyway. You see what I mean? It is the most disgusting thing to do to another human being. Cheating is better than this. Because a lot of times the cheater will gaslight their partners because they really want to stay married, but they want their side piece, so they'll gaslight their partners. so that they'll never figure it out, that they're actually stealing from them, cheating on them, setting up a life with someone else, you know? So there's that. There's, you know, going out of your way to, when we talk about monopolizing someone's time, they do it so that they can't meet new friends or they can't expand their careers, stuff like that. So those are some signs you're dealing with someone who's abusing you. And it's subtle. You don't realize it at first. I had someone say to me, like to say right in front of my friends that I was their sugar mama. And they acted like it was a joke. But I looked at them and I was like, are you fucking for real? And guess what? I was kind of like their sugar mama, you know, in the end. I mean, they'll say these things in passing and you don't catch it right away. So one, don't beat yourself up for missing the signs. Like they're always around us, but you fucking miss it. So they'll isolate you, projectile vomit all over you, their own issues. Everything's your fault. They want you to second guess your reality. They literally tell you you're crazy. You made that shit up. Okay. Those are signs. Those are big ones. When they monopolize your time to the point where you can't meet anybody else, it's the worst form of abuse because they act like they love you, but really they're just trying to keep you from being happy. Who can say they love you, but try and keep you from being happy? How is that possible? It's not possible, right? So there's so much. Now, some of them become stalkers. So a lot of people who are getting gaslighted are able to be gaslighted because your partner, your spouse, your friend, your ex, you know, some weirdo is able to tap into your phone. iPhones are not safe. I don't care what anybody fucking says. Do some research. You'll find out. You don't need to jailbreak your iPhone to get tapped in. They need your phone number and some money, your email address, your internet, your address at home where they can just go to your home and fuck with your internet, break into your place, you know, stuff like that. You're not safe. And if you start seeing that, people will repeat conversations and you're like, how the fuck did you know that? And they'll keep doing it and then deny it. It's because they're tapping into your shit. They're in your emails, you know, stuff like that. Okay. Doesn't take much at all to do it. People will tell you, oh, iPhones are safe. You're crazy. No, you're not crazy. You're not fucking crazy. You know, they don't have to show up in person. You know what I had happen to me once? Everywhere I would go, some random person would come up to me and tell me how much they loved my hair. I go to a restaurant, I go to the mall or whatever. Someone would be like, love your hair. And then they would repeat some of the conversations that came up in one of our chat rooms. Fucking creepy, right? There was always one person present with me at the time that this would happen, though. Never when I was alone, which is interesting, right? Number one, stalkerific, crazy narcissist, you know, gaslighter is going to be someone you know. Usually, it's not going to be someone you don't know. And not someone who does not have an agenda. They always have an agenda. And usually it's something that you can provide them. Now, this is where it gets hairy and where it gets really controversial and where I'm going to look like a real fucking cunt. And I'm fine with that. Narcissists are narcissists out of insecurity. Okay, so let's talk about some things here. Sorry. They are higher level arrogance to the point where like nobody matters but them. Their experiences, their lives, their conversations, like, you know, everything has to be about them. You start talking about yourself and boom, they cut you off. Now, granted, I've done that. I'm a talker though. So I have a tendency to overtalk. You would know this. This is why I have a job, right? And when I'm like crushed, like when people try and put me in a box and then like sit on me for a few years or so, and then I have to come out, I just come out and blah, 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 blah. So when you are suppressed, when your emotions are suppressed, when you're quiet, when you're turning into a Stepford bitch, then yes, eventually you're going to pop out of that box and you're going to monopolize people's time and you're going to want to talk about yourself and do things when people would not let you do that. So that's not the same thing. It's the person that will never fucking care about you. They pretend to, but they don't. They'll never care about you. They're crazy themselves. Like, their thought processes about how people feel about them is literally insane. It's not even possible to be true, you know? So you're going to see some of that, like the grandiose persona, the mask, all that stuff. They go out of their way to hide themselves more out of insecurity than they do to actually present the truth. If they presented the truth or whatever, then they'd be fine, but they don't know that. So it's better for them to be in control of everything and everybody in their space so that they can exist in their own fantasy world. Okay. So on Facebook tonight, earlier tonight, I posted about when you lie about yourself and all that, and you post stupid shit on the internet, it comes back to you. You're living in a fantasy because what you put out, you get back. So if you're putting out some false stuff, or you're lying about your feelings and you're just making up shit to make someone believe something that's not true, even if it sounds good, because just because it sounds good doesn't mean it is. They can say, I love you, but really they're fucking someone else, you know? And it's not to make you guys paranoid. It's like, you'll know if anything I'm saying has happened to you or is happening to you, you will know that this is absolutely true for you. This is not, well, I'm not sure, maybe. No. You will fucking know, right? You will know, because we always know. I don't care if you're male, if you're female, you always know when you're cherished, when you're loved, and it's real. Even if it's not perfect, you will know if it's real. There's a difference, okay? So remember what I said. You can be put in this place where people want you to be delusional for their own benefit. It's because they have an agenda. So let's talk about how great you are. Why would anybody want to use you? You're just a person. You're just trying to make it. You have a job, hopefully. And if you don't, you're working at it. You know, you're trying to take care of your family, yourself, whether you're single or coupled, it doesn't matter, right? And you are special to somebody, and hopefully it's for the right reasons. But if it isn't, it's because they're fucking lazy and they want you to do all the work. They want to take all the credit. And then when your supply is empty, they'll either ghost you, or they will, because see, I ghost for self-preservation. That's different. I'll explain that later. But they will either ghost you and then hoover you back in after they found someone else and then dump them, or whatever. You know, that's in relationships, but it can also be in friendships too. You ever have that friend? And I used to write about this. You ever have the friend that you do all this stuff for? You drive them everywhere. You're always there for them when they're down. They call you at midnight talking to you for like 3-4 hours about this stupid guy or girl or whoever. And then you need them and they're fucking gone. Like, they don't even answer their phone. So it's like, hello, you know? I say that if you're ghosted or you feel the need to ghost somebody, just be done. Like, don't let them back in. There's no reason for them to be back, ever. If, you know, we talk about the narcissistic supply and demand issue, it's like when you literally have nothing else to offer them, and then they're like gone, and then they realize that you're actually better than they thought. That's why they try and bring you back in. They will hoover you. You know, they will suck you in with the apologies, with the counseling, with the promises. So one of the other major things that you're going to notice, and this can happen to people who are not narcissists, or people who are not narcissists will do this, is that they will make promises and not keep them ever. Like, it's not inconsistent, it's just never, okay? The inconsistency can happen when you're being gaslighted, though, where someone will like make a promise, follow through, pretend to give a shit, but really it's because they're stalking you, spying on you, and you know what I mean? And then they just like find the whole Hoover vacuum issue. I know I just did this, didn't I? To try and just suck you back in. So like, there's a lot of different ways people do this, right? Holy shit, you guys are really going to town. I'm going to totally read as much as I can when we're done with this, by the way. I care about your stories, but I'm not able to focus right now. I'm just going through briefly. The ghosting is actually going to be your blessing in disguise. You get ghosted, say goodbye. If you have to ghost someone, if you feel like for self-preservation, you need to just bail, again, that's your intuition. So let's talk about that intuitively. You will know if you're being fucked with. Automatically, the minute, someone tries to challenge the reality of your situation, and not like oops, I forgot what I ate yesterday for breakfast, but a legitimate, like you had an event and your husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, family member embarrassed you publicly, and you call them out and they're like, I don't remember that. Motherfucker, that was like yesterday at 9 p.m. And they don't remember that, or you didn't remember the story, right? Stuff like that. So, you got stuff like that going on. And then you get to a point where you guys get into a huge fight or something like that. And then they bail. And then they make you stew. It's like silent treatment for like 2 weeks. Whether you're married or not, coupled or not, it doesn't matter. They bail on you 2 weeks and then they come back. And then, oh, I'm so sorry I mistreated you. Are you fucking kidding me? You were gone for 2 weeks. I say, bye. Don't let them back in. But remember, if you're involved in some sort of abusive situation, you're not leaving because they keep finding ways to keep you there. Or if you're like me, you stay with your own agenda. I've been through this a couple of times, not just with relationships, but with friendships and stuff like that. I have a reason to stay for a period of time. I have to get certain things together. I have things to do. And then I will bounce, I'll bail, whatever. So I don't ever feel controlled by another person, even though I let them think I do. So let's talk about things you can do to protect yourself. One, I always say, let them think they've won, always. Because if they think they're winning, then they're weakened. And you can maneuver around them and protect your shit and take care of yourself. And then their arrogance, they're high. Their high is up here, but the reality is in the middle. And they don't look down. They're too busy looking up with their nose in the air. Then you can just, run around and do what you need to do, right? Okay? Never give up. One of the most important things I say every day, if I can, I tell myself this: don't back down, never give up. Ever. Don't allow yourself to believe lies. And even though people want you to believe them, don't pretend you do. Okay, yeah, girl, whatever you have to say or do. I know I didn't sound very cute there, but that's kind of how bad it is. Whatever you have to say or do to make people think you're stupid, do it. Do it. Because you have space and freedom then. Because the minute you start giving them what they want, right? Then they get comfortable and then they stop harassing you. Okay. If you play stupid, it will be your saving grace. There's no shame in playing stupid when you're acting. Act your ass off. Why not? It works, people. No contact. It is imperative when you break up with someone like this, no contact. Unless you have children, then you contact through email or any legal means. You are forced to contact each other, because even if you get divorced or even if you break up and let's say you have kids together, because that's the number one thing that puts people in fear mode, whether you are the male getting harassed by your ex-wife or vice versa, you're the female getting harassed by an ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, whatever. Yeah, everybody, it could be same sex, I don't care. And people are people, right? We all are fuckers. So however it goes, if you have kids together and they stalk you, they can still go to jail. Okay. You are still protected. Just because you have kids does not mean you have to go to their circus when they call, right? You do not have to attend every argument you're invited to, or any. Zero, zip, zilch, right? That's my song, Tom Petty Won't Back Down. So I said it because I listen to that song every fucking day. I have to. Do what you need to do on the inside. Listen to music, meditate, journal, whatever you have to do. Make plans for your future without your narcissist, whether it's a friend, family member, ex, current partner, or spouse, whatever you are dealing with. Find ways to plan your future. Do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on having a life or a future. Do not stop making decisions just because you think you need someone else's permission to do something. You never need someone's permission to do something, ever. Oh, it's awful. The narcissist usually covers their tracks very well. They usually enlist other people to help them cover their tracks or to help gaslight you or abuse you. Generally, they don't work alone. Sometimes they do. But sorry, sometimes, and you need to enlist your own army. So I talk about safety. When it comes to this stuff, I feel like if you are being abused, you need to find a safe place where no one's listening to your conversations or whatever. Okay. You need to go to a public place, do it, and change your location every time you go out to talk to someone. Make sure your cell phone's not with you. You know what I mean? Do not talk to people in the car. Like literally you need to be out in the open somewhere public. Make sure it's someone you trust, someone that probably doesn't like your narcissist. Let's start there. That would be helpful. Anybody that's like a mutual friend is a no-no. Okay. Make sure you are safe. Carry your pepper spray, whatever you need to do. Okay. Have a getaway bag in your trunk of your car if you need to. Do what you have to do. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about briefly, it just popped into my head, is totally off the topic I'm on now, but when it comes to stalking, and let's say you have a narcissistic, gaslighting spouse, partner, friend, family member that lives by you or is really close to you, listen to what they tell you. They will admit to the gaslighting. They will tell you ways that they're doing it to you without even knowing it. So pay close attention to what they say. They'll tell you, oh, it's your phone, or oh, it's the light bulbs, or oh, it's this, or it's that. They'll tell you. That's how they're doing it. Okay? They'll make you think you have a stalker, but it's them fucking with your car, right? Pay attention to the timelines and pay attention to who you're spending your time with. So if something happens, who is there? Who is in the vicinity? Who does your narcissist know or your abuser know in the vicinity, right? Pay attention to those things. Journal it. Date it. Take your cell phone, because every time you take a picture with your phone, doesn't matter what kind now, it will timestamp it. Do what you have to do, before and after pics. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself by having, hidden cameras or whatever you need to do, right? If that's what you need to do. So I'm just saying, I mean, people will sit there and be like, oh, there's no way that's happening to you. That could have been, they'll literally tell you if something happened to your car that it could have been this, that, and the other. No, motherfucker, it wasn't. You know what it is. So the most important thing is to never believe that kind of bullshit when someone tries to take your focus off of the reality and turn it into, well, maybe you're wrong about something. No, motherfucker, I'm not wrong. And then you stand up and you tell the motherfucker you're not wrong. And then you never back down. Listen to me. This will piss them off. Even if it's like your mom, like, it doesn't matter what gender, it will piss them off to no end that they cannot break through to that shield you've got going on, that they want to get deep down inside you. They can't. So don't let them, blame. Oh, it's your fault this happened. Are you sure about that? Well, maybe you should figure out why this is happening. Oh, really? Do you know something I don't, buddy? You know what I mean? These are things that they do and say, you know what I mean? To make you second guess the truth, which is the person next to you pretending to be your best friend, pretending to be a loving husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, or family member is full of fucking shit. What do they want from you? They want you to stay. They want the money. They want to monopolize your time. They want to control themselves, but really they have to do it through you because they have no fucking sense. They don't want to feel like they're a loser, but they are. You see what I mean? It's fucking freaky. So you will have someone gaslight you into believing you're being stalked and to put fear in you, and you'll cry and be afraid that someone's actually hurting you or going to hurt you. But really, they're not. They're not going to hurt you because they don't want to go to jail. Orange is not the new black, even for dudes, right? Energy vampires, I just saw that. We just covered that a couple of sessions ago. This isn't even close to being the same thing. Energy vampires is like that much a part of this. They are always an energy vampire. There's like, you can't be a narcissist and not be one. But it's one of those situations to where I feel like, as all over the place as I am talking to you about this, this is how you will be. So PTSD happens to people who go through this shit. Do you understand? You will have triggers. And this is not the same as like being in the Army or the Navy or combat veteran in any, in any capacity. It doesn't matter what country you're in. People are people. People have issues. People have insecurities. They could still gaslight you, and not have like trauma in their past. Or you can have PTSD because you've been mind fucked to the hilt. And this was happening so that they could take something from you, your dignity, your success, your confidence. Number one, insane. Do you have to go to the doctor to be diagnosed narcissistic? Technically, yes. You can also not go to the doctor and your husband or wife will diagnose you their damn selves. Anything that has a label should be technically diagnosed, but most narcissists won't. They won't. If they get diagnosed, they quit therapy. You know what I mean? They won't go through the process. Like they'll do fragmented visits, like they're not really working on themselves. They're bitching about you behind your back. You know what I mean? So good luck trying to get a narcissist diagnosed. That's like a never. You might as well just bail. If you're really with a true narcissist, there's no point. There's no point, You know what I'm saying? Yes, sometimes the narcissist will hurt the victim, but I would tell you, like, of the cases I've read and I've seen and heard, like 80% at least don't hurt the victim physically. They threaten you to the point where you cannot throw their ass in jail. I'm going to commit suicide, don't leave me. That's I don't know how to word that. I think when you go through a situation like that, like that's something they've thought about. They think they try and get you at your heartstrings. So let me tell you a quick story time here. One of the narcissists that I went through in terms of abuse, it was a woman who was older than me. I met her on the internet through a psychic site. We'll call her CC for short, Capricorn cunt. She was awful. And who even knows if that's really her sign? She befriended me. She took care of me like a mom, like a friend, like a sister. And the whole time she was fucking lying about herself, who she was and what she was really doing there in terms of being my friend. And she actually used a death to try and pull at my heartstrings. She actually lied to me about someone dying. So she asked me and some other people for a ton of readings, and it turned out the guy, was alive. I mean, I never saw him dead. And then she would try and send me stuff to get me to believe that, like paper clippings or whatever. She could have made him up, but to try and prove he was dead, and he wasn't. And I remember never looking at those clippings. This is actually in my big story time. I never looked at those clippings because I knew in my heart she was full of shit, but I couldn't believe it. Like I was literally stunned. And that's one of the biggest things that abuse victims go through, is that shock that, how is this happening to me? And then if it happens again, you're like, fucking motherfucker, it's still happening to me. Like, I thought I got over this, but why is it happening again? So narcissistic gaslighters are experts at lying. They're pathological liars. They're con artists. That's all they know how to do, is make up fake shit. And if you're not around them to see proof, well, of course you're going to try and like sort of buy into it. But the thing is I'm actually really psychic. So when I felt like she was lying to me, I just knew, and I just thought, no, he's alive, and that's it. He's alive. She would tell me half truths, right? This thing would be true, but that would not be true. But really, it was just, I found out later that it was just to contain me. And then I found out that this was a separate situation. I found out that someone hooked me up with someone to control me in some way. Like they kind of set me up on a blind date. I didn't know it was I was being set up. I thought it was a natural meeting, and I didn't really fall for the guy, but like they hooked me up and expected me to fall for them. And I didn't really fall for them, but I was with them for a long time. It was like really fucked up, like matchmaker from hell. guess what? I found out that first narcissistic hoe from hell, she was part of that. So turns out, you think you got rid of the narcissist, but then they're never gone. They're never gone. So that's important. I've had some nastier situations that I'll explain later, but you will find out that some of the things I'm saying to you, you've already been through. And if you're like wondering if you're here because you're not sure, but you're like in that shock zone, like things are happening, but you're not sure, like maybe your shit's disappearing and you think you're going crazy, but then it reappears the next day. And you're like, motherfucker, I knew that thing disappeared, or, someone's telling you, are you sure about that? Like putting doubt in your head, you're here listening to me talk and I'm telling you these experiences and you got these light bulbs going off. Yes, you're being gaslighted. Does it matter why? No, it doesn't. So either play along, get what you need out of your situation, like turn into a hose beast if you need to, but be polite, be stupid, do what you have to do, but protect your shit, because these are not, it doesn't mean that I can label all your people as narcissists, but if someone is going out of their way to gaslight you, it's because they want something and you need to be aware of this, okay? I'm serious. This is some crazy ass shit. So the narc that I was dealing with, the Capricorn, see you next Tuesday, pretended to be psychic, like one of me. And not to say that I don't attract real psychics to me, but I literally, anytime someone says I'm just like you, I'm like, hell, motherfucker, no, you're not. Get out of my space. Like, don't approach me and be like, I do what you do. No, approach me some other way because you'll be sent packing. But that's like a trigger for me. That's like anytime I hear something like that, or you can trust me, I'm like, no, wasn't born yesterday, bitches. But anyway, this person tried to pretend like they were just like me, but really, they just were able to see what I was up to. They knew what I was doing on the internet, and they were able to pretend to have things in common with me. And then it didn't stop. Like it was always bitches. There was only one guy, well, two, there were two guys, but only, one guy during a period of time that I had to deal with. But it was all women that would try and pull that shit on me. It's insanity. You're welcome, you guys. So this is like, I can give you so many examples and you're going to see more from me. The gaslighting thing is literally, just to keep it simple for those of you who are just now joining us, false information to get you thrown off, to get you weakened, to make you question the reality you're living in for someone else's sick purpose, because they're sick people. That's what they are. They're disgusting and sick. And it takes a lot to get help, because when you're being gaslighted, it's so subtle that other people will think you're nuts. However, you don't lose real ones. So if you are confiding in someone about this narcissistic gaslighting abuse situation, they'll believe you. They will. If they're real, they'll believe you. I am not afraid to put my shit out there. I'm not afraid to put my very personal details out there, because there's a reason I went through this, not for my health, for yours. I always, as a spiritualist, this is what we go through. We go through the tough shit. And yes, I was psychic, and yes, I knew the signs, and I want you to know that you're not alone, and that you're not an idiot for missing the signs the first few times, even if you're intuitive. Number one, oh, there goes my candle. The number one person that the narcissists attach themselves to are the empaths. Have you guys ever done where's my lighter? Have you ever done some research on this and realized that it's the empaths that get nailed the most? Is the people who care the most, the nice people, the good ones, that get like screwed over? It's because they think you're weak and they're so grandiose in their insanity and delusions that, you must be a target. There's always a target on your back. So if you're a nice person who tries to do the right thing and you befriend people, and when someone says so-and-so died, you feel bad, don't feel bad about missing signs. Sure, it's part of your life purpose. Even though it sucks for me to say it, Doesn't mean you deserved it. It means you needed it. I teach it now. I use it. I teach it. Thanks for being an asshole, people, because now I have something to publish. Now I have, and if you don't want me publishing it, don't treat me like shit. Fuck you, I mean, being an empath sucks. That's one of the gifts I hate, because then you're sucking in everybody's garbage. You're good and you're garbage, right? The good and the garbage outweighs the good. And then you have to replace the sponge and it gets moldy and it's gross. But you have a choice. You always have a choice, You always have a choice. Believe what's true, not what someone else wants you to believe, But when we do decide and flip on them, yeah. What's funny is that when you discard your narcissist, like they discarded you many times over and over again, whether they left you or not, they can discard you and they still sleep in the same bed. Just keep that in mind. I would say my biggest mistake with that was shutting down, because I literally shut down and became kind of narcissistic myself for self-preservation and not paranoid, but like borderline, right? And so to protect myself and the people in my life that I love dearly, in my career, and whatever else I needed to protect, my sanity, number one, I shut down, and I didn't see any hope other than being a total brutal, cold bitch and becoming the person that I was being accused of being, just for that. But I'm saying, like, at times that's okay. But what I find interesting is, to this day, I still get kind of the same runarounds, like people are repeating my words, turning my words against me. That's another sign that you're dealing with a gaslighter, is like you'll say something and then they'll take those same exact words and act like it's their issue, but it isn't. They're just trying to fuck with your head, Like if you complain about being isolated by your husband or wife, they'll sit there 2 weeks later and be like, you isolate me. You know what I mean? Seriously? Like, I don't remember what I said to you 2 weeks ago, I'm serious. You shut down, you don't trust people, you literally keep everybody out because nobody's safe anymore, especially if it's like your husband or wife, the person you're supposed to trust the most, for whatever reason, they're gaslighting you, And by the way, you'll probably never find out the true reason why you're being gaslighted, but I already gave you the reason. It's because something's falling apart in their world. You're taking something away from them, and they have to do whatever they can to protect it. I have to protect myself, will be what they say to you, but really it's you need to protect yourself from that motherfucker. Some people will shut down by keeping their mouth shut and being a Stepford bitch or a dude. And others will open their mouth so much so that it causes more drama and more problems. If you are in a relationship of any kind, friendship, family, love, and you keeping your mouth shut keeps the peace, it's abuse. Do you understand me? You're being abused. But the reason is always about them, never about you, never. They'll never believe they're abusive. You'll tell them that they're abusing you, and you'll give them proof and you'll give them reasons why, but they'll always find a way, even weeks later, to say, you're abusive to me. Or they'll call their mommy and cry about you abusing them or you neglecting them, or you're the reason that they're not having sex. Okay. All right, cool. They'll find ways to make you feel unattractive. They'll try and put doubt in your head, in your mind, so that you don't go out and find someone better. Right? Come on now. Right? A friend, let's talk about friends. A friend will abuse you by telling you you look fat in that dress, or that guy doesn't like those type women, or that girl, whatever. Or they'll make you feel like something bad is happening to you and that they're going to be your best friend and your savior and all that, but really they're causing the problems themselves. They're making you sick. You know what I mean? I'm saying it does not have to be love related. Let's look back at my notes real quick. Yeah, things narcissists who are gaslighters might do. Some of them, without gaslighting, they'll stalk you in person, phone, internet, hidden cameras, and deny it. Physically threaten you, but just enough to stay out of jail. Anything to cause you PTSD, anything at all. We talked about therapy and how they'll fucking sabotage your therapy, or they'll try and make you think that you're the reason why everybody needs help, but really it's them. The vanity. If you have PTSD, let me read some of this. If you have PTSD, there may be triggers for that. And that's okay. You know, people who are real in your life will understand that you've been through some, you know, evasive trauma or some other shit. And it's like, I don't know how to word this, but it's like, you know, you may become insecure, second guessing all the time, always apologizing. I've caught myself, like, to you guys, I'll sit there and apologize for something that's so stupid, like, you guys don't care I did it, but I'm constantly apologizing for it, right? They're always one-upping you. You're finding out that they're always trying to one-up you, like, in front of your friends, your family, their family, especially their own family. Like, they will try and make you, belittle you in front of people, so that they, you know, can make you look stupid. They'll correct you all the time. You'll say something in front of anybody else and they'll correct you, so that boom, you're down here and they're up here. Even if they don't come at the situation with any kind of brilliance, which they usually don't, they just put you down. That's a sign that you're being abused. And then you're going to have PTSD because you're constantly being abused and put down, belittled in front of people. They want, and then, you know what I do? I always say, stop correcting me. And I'm like a cunt about it. And I am loud about it, because you know I'm loud as fuck anyway. But then when someone corrects me, and it's not a nice, constructive thing, it's an abusive, it's like, well, actually, or no, that didn't happen, you know, that kind of thing. I'm like, And then I just stand there like an asshole, like a bitch. And I make a scene, because then it'll stop. Because then they can shut the fuck up now. You know what I mean? I suggest you do this. Make it known that someone is doing it to you publicly. They are embarrassed, because the narcissist cares what other people think. So if you're at a restaurant and you get belittled, open your mouth real loud so that people are looking. It may make you look bad for a minute, but that narcissist is like mortified. That's the only time they care about anything, is when other people are like, what the fuck did they just do? You know? Sorry, Mitchie. That's like if you throw back what they give you and then you double time that shit, then they're like, oh my God, other people are watching me, you know? And then they'll blame you for it. And then you're like, fine, whatever. And then walk away. Like, own that shit, bitches, bros, whatever. Own that shit, you know? I don't know if you can get disability for PTSD. Maybe if you're in the military in the US, I don't know. You might. You would need a doctor's note for that shit, but hey, you know. Yeah, the reason, so this is like the part of the one-upmanship, guys, is trying to use your own words against you, you know, and then they do it to you, and they do it like when you're in the car together or when you're alone together, you know, they'll get you back that way, but like, whatever, fuck off. I already talked about some of this stuff. Okay, so what you do is you never give up. You always stand up for yourself. even if, like, because if you wanted to play stupid, I would say don't stand up for yourself. Pretend to be like belittled and sad and crying or whatever. Oh my God, you have power over me. No, but okay. I like that playing stupid thing. And what I really love about having knowledge about this, doing research about this, getting into groups like this and talking openly about your issues is that, you can get your sanity back without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in therapy with your narcissist who's never going to tell the truth, who's always going to make you look like a bitch, or a bad guy or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You don't always have to be diagnosed with PTSD if you don't want to go to therapy or whatever. Big signs that you have it is that insecurity, and that if somebody new does something similar to what your abuser did, you like literally go into a stroke, panic attack. Panic attacks are very common and normal, even if you don't show it, but on the inside, if you've been abused, if you've been made to believe that you're nothing. So let me just say one more time that this is not about you. It never will be about you. So stop trying to fix the situation. Stop trying to trust this person. Stop trying to, turn this motherfucker around. Don't bother. You know what I mean? Don't bother. Do what you need to do. Take care of you, right? Hey, if you want to get therapy, go for it, but don't go with them. Never go with them. Okay, I want to read some of your comments real quick because there are some things. I know I talk. I do it for a reason because I'm an educator, and I'm educating you based on my experiences, my research, talking to you guys, talking to clients. Oh my God, it's insane. And by the way, I'm protecting some of these examples aren't mine. The ones that are mine, I'll tell you they're mine. The ones that aren't mine, I'm not going to expose the people. I just find that so many people go through this. You know what I mean? Don't play with them. The bad narcs will try to destroy you. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. They'll do everything they can to destroy you. But they can't because they still don't have control over that. Only you do. They can sit there and talk bad about you. They can, try and ruin your reputation. But listen, people with a half a brain will know that someone is doing that to someone else. You are protected by common sense. Listen to what I just said. You guys are protected by common sense. Other people in the world have it. And your narcissist cannot possibly get to absolutely everybody. They cannot. They're a person or people or a group of people, and they're not that powerful. Sure, people can get paid off to fuck with you, sure. Because people are desperate and they'll take money for anything. But not everybody. Remember this. All it takes is one believer, folks. One. Okay, well, one is right here. I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? So, one believer and you're free. You don't need a group. You don't need 50 people. You don't need your whole co-working group. You don't need your boss. You don't need everybody. You need one. And that shit will expand. There is hope here. The problem is that your narcissist doesn't want you to have any. They want you to believe that everybody around you is absolute shit and that you'll never meet any new friends or you'll never, it is up to you to create that open path and to put them in a box and sit on them and suffocate them by using your head. Common sense is going to save you, my friends. Great. I hope they can get, yes, good. I hope they can get disability for that. Because really, sometimes it's serious and debilitating, and you need treatment. So I hope so. I'm just saying. It's okay. Thank you guys for being here. If you have to go, I get it, you know. It's really no problem. I have a couple other shows I'm going to do on different elements of narcissism, and I've got a lot to say. But when I post my story time, I think you guys are going to look at that and really feel like, if you've been through it too, you'll really feel like, thank God, you know. I'm reading some of this. Yeah, you guys are having side conversations, so I'm missing some of the questions here. Cool. Okay, so you guys, I agree. Definitely, when it comes to saving your sanity, do not let anybody, I don't care what position they have in your life, if they're your boss, your mom, your dad, your lover, your ex, whatever, don't let them dismantle you. It's important. Oh, Lord, here we go. Anyway, nobody thinks PTSD is a joke, dude. Trust me. Okay, I'm missing some of these side conversations. Oh my God, Gypsy, I'm so sorry. So listen, some of the experiences I've had with the gaslighting situation, like I said, mostly came from women. So I wanted to say one more time, I said this at the beginning of my session, I'm going to say it again, that you get to a point where, if you're a woman like I am, and you want camaraderie and you trust women and they pull that shit on you, it is incredibly difficult to trust other women again. Okay. So keep in mind, women are crazy. Yes, they are. Keep in mind that that's probably more painful than like a lover doing something to you or whatever. You know what I mean? And so you get to a point where, when you can't trust like normal friends or whatever, you know that they're trying to like fuck with you for whatever reason, you have to kind of pull back your energy, and you have to kind of stand back and look at what's around you and what's being said to you. And, you know, there's a lot of signs. Hold on, I got to read this one. There's a lot of signs that you're being fucked with by even just your friends. You know, it's really sad. So going back to PTSD. So a couple of comments about military. That's cool. I don't know about that. What I do know is that when people drop those subtle negative hints, you know, and then over time it's damaged you, it's damaged your psyche, and you have your triggers, stuff like that, I feel like you can't really get help for that. Like, you can sit there and go to a therapist about it, but they're still your triggers. So the other thing I wanted to point out is, like, whatever your trigger is, if you don't explain that to people, they're not going to have a fucking clue, right? Like new people, or if you know, new lovers or whatever. Bottom line, do not be ashamed of your triggers. I don't care what your situation is, whatever you've gone through, whatever. You definitely have to embrace the triggers. You have to deal with them yourself. Yes, you can get help to assist you, because remember, therapy isn't about fixing a problem, because you can't. That's just some other person sitting there not fixing a problem for you, because it's not their problem, it's yours. They can kind of get you into that place, you know? You got that right. When someone shows you what they are, believe them. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm reading some of your comments. Sorry. Mm-hmm. I didn't read your story, Stormy Talk. I'm sorry. I will get to your stories later. But I think, like, the worst situation I had in my life had to do with that one woman. Like, if I had never met that woman, God, I'm pretty sure like my whole life would have been different, you know? I've actually had another woman that I'm in a story time about as well. But I'm telling you, it is the most insane thing. So I think like my PTSD comes out in weird ways, right? So remember what we talked about. Like it can come out in your insecurities. It can come out, if someone says something to you that's demeaning, and you know what I mean? It can come out when you least expect it. You don't have to have night terrors to have PTSD. Karina, you can't always keep yourself safe. I can't keep myself safe with my online business. Not at all. Melissa, if you do want to leave your comments in the comment section once this is broadcast, it's great. You can do it now. You can do whatever you want. I just feel like you can't put a label on the whole PTSD thing. Like, I'm sure there's like one big umbrella, right? Because it's just the words, but everybody's got different experiences. Like, you don't even have to be gaslit. You don't even have to have a narcissist in your life. You could have had like one traumatic incident that's happened to you, and then, you're screwed for life because that's how you internalize something. So again, we could talk about this for years. I definitely can, because I got so many things I need to say. But some of the experiences I brought up today is something that I know is very common, especially with I read a lot of articles on narcissism and gaslighting and stuff like that. And then I have clients, like you guys will notice this when I'm doing readings, you'll see the word narcissist come out like every other line. And I still don't condone that, because, it's not like we have a right to say you're a narcissist, we can believe it, but we can't exactly do that legally and be 100% correct, because what if we're not? Like I said at the beginning, you can have a bad day, month, year, century. You can just be in a bad relationship. You can think you're a victim every day. A lot of us think we're victims and we're not, but we are, because we believe we are. And maybe even after abuse, you're still not a real victim, but you are. Does that make sense? You can be both. And so I would just say we should refrain from calling people narcissists. But, I think in the end, even if we're right, what does it matter? It matters what we believe about ourselves. It believes what we do, how we conduct ourselves, what we think, what we feel. Nobody has to like you. Nobody has to trust you. Nobody has to believe in what you're saying is true. Nobody has to listen to me or believe in me. I have quite a few people who don't. I have quite a few people who would like to see me down on the ground crying in the fetal position daily. I had someone threaten me, an old client of mine threatened me, trying to tell me that he's going to control the rest of my life, and I'm going to be so broke and all this shit. And, he's going to take the whole psychic world down. And that guy was nuts. But I'm still me after that. He was very abusive. I'm still me, though. It's just insane. Hey, David, you're a little late on that comment. You're going to have to rewatch the beginning of this. So, just saying. You got it, Caroline. Absolutely, honey. Am I a victim? Sure, because I want to be at times. If I don't want to be a victim, I won't be. Most of the time I try not to be, but I'm not perfect. I'm a person, so you'll know. My own well-wisher. That's very nice of you to say. Good night, Misty. Okay, so it's an exhausting topic. It's an exhausting topic, and a lot of you guys have amazing experiences. I can't wait to read about them, because I think, I can sit there. I know someone just said sociopath. Oh my God. I think what's really interesting is that there's a lot of labels. I'm just talking about the general ones that I see all the time in my chat. It's so important, Joan, you got it. You got that right, honey. You're welcome. I know. I didn't give away my power all the time. Sometimes, like in little spaces, you know what I mean? I'm glad you needed to hear it. J-Lo, some of them do. I think we talked about cheating earlier. Sometimes cheating's better than some of this. You guys, thank you for the purple hearts. So sometimes cheating is better than this, you know? How do you get your gaslighter to stop calling you? Block them. We talked about if you have kids with someone, sometimes you just can't communicate with them. You have to just keep it in writing. But if you kind of put yourself in that position to constantly, involve yourself in the fights over and over, you're kind of contributing to that. So don't do it. Like I said, cut that out. No contact. Oh, you said it. Yep, no contact. If you can, no contact. I hear you about that package deal. Got it. Love white. That's really hilarious. If they're cheating, they're distracted from torturing you. True and not true. Some people get distracted. Others, they go out of their way to distract their spouse because they need them for whatever purpose. KCD, good night. It's really interesting how people come out of this. Oh, an 85-year-old narcissist is never changing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just definitely blocked that person, Jade. Come on now. Let me just say, I will say this, at least from my experiences, it's easier to cut out friends than it is family, Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, I don't know. Don't even. There's no hope for 85. I'm just saying. Ew. Oh my God. Some of these stories are just horrific too. There's really no problem. Listen, I didn't, I think the stuff you will get more from me, it's going to be my story time. Like this one, I'm just like throwing out different things I've read, different things I've experienced, different things that are said to me, different things that trigger me. And it's negative, and it's like, I know I'm not, people aren't, you know. I'm not going to put signs on narcissism. That doesn't make sense. Yes, a true narcissist can ghost you and say goodbye. If you get ghosted, that's good. That's, like I said earlier, it's your saving grace. Remember what I said, guys, though. It's not like all narcissists are men. I know a lot of people think that men are like, they're the ultimate, but it's not true for everybody. I had, like I said, the majority of my experiences growing up and then, even into adulthood were issues with women, which is so sad, you know? Happy Mother's Day to everybody. God, it's so awful that they're all women, or mostly women. It's insane. It's insane. Oh, the codependency. So do you guys remember when I was talking? I don't remember which session it was. I always tell people not to worry about codependency because I feel like with codependency, it's like kind of an effect of being abused, like when you were younger or whatever, any experience. So, yeah, sure, you get the codependency, but then it's kind of like when you realize that you've been doing that, you sort of find a way to detach from that. And obviously, that's your own issue. You can't blame other people for codependency, right? But the codependency is like, it's like the devil itself, right? Because it just becomes this thing that you keep feeding and feeding because you're looking for a way out of something. You're looking for a big sign, or you're looking for something to free you, but really it's all on you, you know? Listen, we're all just people. There's billions of people in the world. We don't need one person to be happy. We don't. So if someone doesn't want to be with you, they don't need to be with you, vice versa. If you don't want to be with them, you don't need to be with them. But taking the extra step to go through the gaslighting and to do all the things that happen with friends and family and coworkers, especially coworkers. I've always heard that the coworkers are like really like nuts, because people worry about their jobs so much. And you know what I mean? Somebody hit me up with some coworker stories. I hear less about those than I do about the situations at home or with their parents, but the coworker thing, oh my God, like where people set people up to fail. But then, you get codependent situations at work too with your coworkers if you're like making friends there, or if you mess around with someone at work, let's say you're single, and you have like a little, intra-office dating romance or some shit, and then you end up getting into a weird codependency. It happens. But let me know if you guys have dealt with like some weird gaslighting situation at work. Those would be interesting to me. It's like, I think the reason for it is their own insecurity, Love weight, you got it. Yes, I understand. I'm reading some of your stuff. So the other thing I'd be interested in getting comments on would be, how do you manage your triggers, your PTSD triggers when, like, let's say you've left a narcissistic abusive situation, or, just like someone trying to control your environment or whatever. How do you handle this? Like everybody's got a different way. Like I said, I had like a duality about me where I would just like shut down and just be like, no, I'm not dealing with anything or anybody. I need to figure out my shit. I need to work on my shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, sure. I can freely admit that I can come across as very shut down and cold. But then on the flip side, I can do the opposite, which is be more open, more loving, more caring. And then unfortunately, it's like the gray area in the middle gets left alone, I guess, or neglected or whatever. And that's where we all need to be, is like we need to take that gray area and just kind of like fill it up with like neutral energy. And that's the toughest part, is like the duality of PTSD is like shutting down, not saying anything, not opening up, or like being too open. You know what I mean? Does anybody understand that? Like for me, therapy is just kind of like, I prefer creative therapy for myself to get my shit together, to like get my balance. And like when I see my triggers coming out, I usually talk, because like that's all I do. I talk. So I get it out by talking, but not necessarily in a therapist office, you know? No way, Roxanne, that's kind of funny. Ooh, here's something I did want to talk about, and I know a lot of you guys have left the chat, so we're going to miss it. Let's talk about like relationships. Okay, let's talk about like true narcissism versus just having a fight. Let's talk about that because, okay, so I've been on YouTube and my feed, you know, comes up when you do research on stuff. So there's a lot of videos coming out with people recording their conversations and then putting it on YouTube and saying that's narcissism, you know. So I've listened to a few of them and been kind of like, okay, but then it's like really interesting. You read the comments. You guys should probably do this actually. I think it's interesting. You read the comments and you get all these different perspectives. Like, so let's say it's a male and female combination, whether they're husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, it's a relationship. And someone's trying to say the woman, for example, is being the narcissist because she's controlling, monopolizing a conversation, and it feels like they're putting the other person down or whatever. But then the man comes back with his own shit. And you sit there and you listen to the conversation, and then the person, the author of the page, is trying to say it's just one or the other. When you read the comments and everybody's kind of giving like the duality side of this. So I remember watching one like last week or so, and I thought, my God, they're both assholes. You can be with someone who's an asshole to you and you can be an asshole right back. It does not mean it's true narcissism. Can I say that again for the record? You can both be assholes at the same exact time, right? But it doesn't mean it's true narcissism. We don't really know that, do we? Because it's all about perspective. So you can have a therapist say, yep, that's a narcissistic thing to do. And then you can go and say, oh, that person's an actual narcissist. They actually are being diagnosed. So there's like a lack of control with a narcissist. At the same time, they're controlling, if that makes sense to you. Then there's the narcissistic tendencies I talked about at the very beginning of the video. And I did not get into like the dynamics of fighting fair, but like, I think nobody fights fair. Like, that's my honest opinion. This is just my opinion. After all the readings I've done, after my experiences with people and stuff like that, even with my own mother, like my mom and I, she's a Gemini, I'm an Aquarius, you know, it's not great. Do we ever fight fair? Is there ever a give and take with fighting? Is there ever, you know, a way out of a narcissistic fight? Because a narcissistic fight is not necessarily you are dealing with a narcissist, right? Like people could sit there and say, oh, you're so narcissistic. So that would be my response, right? Yes, I am. Thank you so much for noticing me. You know what I mean? Or they'll say, well, God, you're so fucking conceited. Which is it? I mean, I can be conceited. It's not one and the same though. Conceited is way down in the totem pole. But there's couples who are like fired up that actually fight fair. I try to fight fair, but I'm not like well received ever. You know what I mean? You can fight fair in front of Dr. fucking Phil, though. I'm pretty sure he will facilitate that in a boring way. Yeah, there's bad arguing. The bad arguing would be the put downs, the way you feel when you leave the argument. Like, even if there's no resolution, which can happen in any argument, that feels like shit. But then there's the like, you will never meet somebody else because you are a piece of shit type energy, you know? You know, I'm always called a bitch. Does that mean I'm a narcissist? I don't know. So yeah, like dealing, I mean, I felt like I was trying to cover the general energy of the narcissist, but you know, it's trying to pull someone down is the biggest issue I've had with people, you know? Oh my God, let me tell you, people with abandonment issues have very strong triggers. Holy shit. You know? Crayon Box Tarot. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe. Communication problems. So let's see. There's the people with communication problems, then there's the people that take the extra step. Remember the difference between like sane people who are just fucked up, like us, who have communication issues, don't go out of their way to create a scenario that's illusionary in place, okay? You got it, Caroline. That's something I mentioned earlier. Like, bottom line, you can get therapy for help, and I believe in that. I don't mind therapy. But at the same time, it's like if you don't have anything to do with it, like if they don't give you tools, that's like a bad therapist. I always complain about mine because I feel like I don't get enough to do. Like my last session was like a bitching session or more of a trying to get something off my chest, but I didn't get anything. And I always have a problem with that. Narcissists and soul contracts. Actually, that does fall under that. I do believe that if we have a soul contract, we are totally contracted to that person. And you're stuck with them for whatever the length of time is. And whether they're a true narcissist or not, you're contracted to a lot of people, you know? You know what I mean? Oh, Lord, Kelly, I'm so sorry. That's awful. Joan, you've got that right. I'm reading some of these comments. I'm sorry. A soul contract is before you incarnate into this lifetime, you have like a spiritual bond with another soul, and you are meant to go through this lifetime learning and growing together, whether it's positive or negative. So you're kind of like stuck with this person. They're meant to enter your life for however long, and then they leave, usually. Or they could be contracted forever. It just depends. So you guys, okay, that's the soul contract thing. Someone said something really important. Let me find it. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to kind of let you guys go because it's getting. Oh, wait, someone said, I forgot who it was. Someone said that the true narcissist will literally take something and use it against you on purpose. Like they will literally do that, like trying to get you hurt. They will try and come up and do something on purpose. You got that right. I want you guys to realize that. That is the most important sign you're dealing with an asshole. Aside from like the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, or, you know, it's just someone who's an asshole. If they know something would hurt your feelings, they'll go and do it on purpose. And then they'll like pretend to be a victim or something, you know? Just what, I forgot who it was that said it. It was absolutely true. Absolutely true. Val, I said that at the beginning of the show here, is that a lot of them were spoiled to pieces. Spoiled, you know? It's absolutely true. And actually, you guys, spoiled does not mean like we're given all these gifts growing up. They could have just gotten like their way all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like spoiled people, my mom always said she was spoiled. You know, she never had the best of everything, but she always got her way. And then she had a lot of narcissistic tendencies when I was growing up, that's for sure. Things have changed with my mother, though, you know. A lot of we only went through the basic signs of narcissists, but like I always see them as the people, they're not always so grandiose, like they're covert, like they're real quiet about their shit. They're real, conniving, and they premeditate their attacks. And I see them as someone who actually on the outside wears a mask. Like people, they like them. They're like the genuinely nice people. But then like they turn around. Like I had an ex. Let me tell you about my ex's mom. So I had an ex whose mom was a nurse, and she's a big church goer or whatever. But like on the surface, everybody thought she was the sweetest person or whatever. But then like behind the scenes, she was a total bitch, just like controlling my ex, and always made him feel guilty. She would always say stuff like, "Oh, you think I'm a bad mom," just to get him to do whatever she wanted. It's just some weird shit. Like she always had like a plan for him, and I obviously wasn't part of the plan because I'm not a churchgoer. He liked me for who I was, one of the few people in my life that really, really got me and stood by me and like believes in me, But she was just like, oh no, I didn't fit that box, I didn't fit any of that. And so she was like, she had the mask all the time. It drove me nuts. Now I'm not sure if she's a narcissist or not. I'm not a therapist, but I mean, that mask, oh, that drives me crazy. So a lot of people you'll hear a lot of stories about the people who are like, oh, they're such a nice guy or girl. I mean, how could they possibly be like that? I can't believe they're like that. Shock is part of it, is part of the signs that you could be dealing with someone who's truly narcissistic, is like, you cannot believe like this is happening, Nobody else can believe it either because they put on a damn show, It's a big one too. It's awful. God, I went through so many people that did that to me. And at first, sure, you buy it hook, line, and sinker, Oh, I know, right, Genta? Did I pronounce your name right? It's so true, But yeah, that's one of the big signs is like the Jekyll Hyde thing. It's like you go out in public with them and they're one way, but then like behind closed doors. And that's not to say that like, I would say that they literally would be Jekyll Hyde, not like Jekyll Hyde for a week because you're on your rag or something. Like us women, we have our moody moments, and dudes do too, But yeah, the big bullshit show, the shit show, right? Yeah. Hmm. Completely different versus like I always say that narcissists, like the true ones, they're actually consistent. The inconsistent people are moody people. They're normal people. Like we're not going to be perfectly consistent all the time. A narcissist is actually regimented. You know what I mean? They're actually like, crazy, crazy. So like I said, they're conniving, they're really never conflicted about anything because they know everything all the time. you know oh, ex-Catholic priest. Well, I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, I love the people that try and go out of their way to make you feel like you're crazy. Those people suck. Mm-mm. um well, if they're kind of a part of your family and not like the main part of your family, then fuck them. Listen, I cut my father off when I was really young, and I don't regret it. I'm mad that I didn't get the father I thought I deserved. Of course, that might make me a narcissist thinking I deserved a good dad. But anyway, I, he was very narcissistic. So many levels. He literally went out of his way to hurt people in my family, including myself. So I say, yes, you know what? Get rid of him, you know? Just so you guys know, the best thing to do is like when you see someone go out of their way to purposely hurt you or to put you on blast publicly, do nothing. Do nothing, Oh my God, that is devil. Julianne, that's pretty tough. Gosh, that's awful. They become obsessed with hands down destroying you, not to be believed. I know. I've been there, done it. I hear you. It's true. Caroline, thank you so much. I don't know. I came out okay. I still think I'm normal even with my PTSD moments, you know? I don't doubt myself, really. I just don't think that I'm like the shit. I'm the shit sometimes. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. I try. I try really hard to be normal and whatever normal means to me, right? And that's what I want you guys to know is that you're enough. You're not alone. People around you might want to see you fall and put you to your knees or embarrass you in front of other people or whatever. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. We don't really like, everybody has their own experience with shit, right? Ooh, one thing I want to talk about real quickly. Let's say some people have asked this in the past and nobody's asked. I don't think anybody's asked this tonight. Can you become a narcissist? I think you can. I don't think you're born a narcissist, right? I think it's learned behavior. So, for example, your ex-wife is a fucking narcissist, right? And you went through your own trauma or whatever, an effort to protect yourself, an effort to control things in your world, you might have become a narcissist. Would you know this? No, because narcissists don't know jack shit. You know what I mean? Could you be just damaged? Sure. Do you have to be a narcissist because you were with one? No. But I've actually had an experience with someone who I believe, this is my opinion, not fact, I believe was with a narcissistic person. I mean, straight up, this person, this person sucks. There's no nice way to put it. I wish I could put it nicely, but I can't. And I believe that they kind of turned into that, out of their own fears and wanting to make sure that their life was in order and maybe with good intentions. Because sometimes, the road to hell, right? And the road to hell could be paid for other people or paid for yourself or paid for every damn buddy on your path, whatever it is. But I believe that people can become more narcissistic than they normally would be based on some of their old relationships, I mean, it is. Oh, the conarch. I don't call it conarch, but hey, that's cool. I'll call it that. But that's absolutely right. And I definitely feel like the best thing to do really is not to label everybody, but there are definite signs of abuse and there are definite things that people do, that just put you, it's like they put you on blast because they're embarrassed, I put myself on blast all the time, like I'm right here. Conarch, okay, fine, that's cool. I think so, Drew. I think so. I'm very passionate about some of my experiences with this. So I know I probably came through like really like, my story time's going to come out worse because I talk about those bitches, and the effects it's had on me. So that'll be fun for you guys to see down the line here. Val, you're funny. I love it. A lot of us have been there. You feel like Aquarians always have to come out like that? Yeah, I know. That's me. I'm so Aquarius. It's not even funny. You can't stop a trigger, hun. It's just like that. Patty Blake. All right. Working my ass off trying to connect, and hopefully we all, I love the collaboration with you guys, because there are going to be people that come back and see this and they can read the chat. And that's why I do these live, because of that reason, because some people don't want to sit down and just like type a big life story, you know. You're welcome to if you want. Try to keep your personal information and details to a minimum, especially if you're still in your situation, you know. Oh, yes. So why do we attract people who do us dirty? Because we're nice people and they think they can. Someone told me that once. They were like, well, they did it to you because they knew they could. Okay, thanks. But really, you can't. So what? You got some money out of me. I don't know what you got, but you don't got me. You have that, not me. But you didn't want me, but that's okay. It is like a drug. Control is a drug. Putting people down is a drug. Absolutely. So boundaries. We talked about, I talked about boundaries for a second and I didn't cover it, and now I got to let you go. The boundaries. Narcissists don't see boundaries. Like the true narcissist will not cross a boundary because they don't exist in their world, right? They didn't cross your boundary. They have a reason for that. There's always a reason why. If you put a parameter up and they cross it, there's no, you know, you try and bounce them out of that box. They're like, but you left that crack, or you did this, or there's always some reason. But I'm saying it's up to you to set the standard with people. And if they don't follow it, it's still up to you to get rid of them, right? You know what I mean? There's more to learn. I still have a couple more live sessions. They're not going to come out in a row. I have a story time coming out, and that's going to be important. I'm going to post it here and at Facebook. There's so many people that we can connect with regarding these topics. The gaslighting is just retarded in my book. It's juvenile. It's like someone's trying to make you crazy. Well, just existing might make them crazy. You know what I mean? So like going out of taking that extra step just seems ridiculous to me. Like, why bother? Why bother? It's not going to do any good in the end. Just so what? You can start a smear campaign with your friends and family after you leave them, or whatever, or you can start a smear campaign for someone at work. You know what I mean? You know? You got it right, light burner. Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. The PTSD thing is very delicate, intricate, and it's one of those things where you can, I really believe you can get it from any kind of, even a minor thing. Like people, whatever they hold on to, you know, whatever affects them, however it affects them, it's deep. You know, that shit's deep. And it's just, you can't really, you just got to handle it in your own way. You know, whether it's alone or with a therapist or with a group of people, whatever works for you. Those damn triggers may not go away though, you know. Jillian, you're right. It is true. I think the worst part of dealing with a narcissist is the worst experience I've had was the ones that monopolized my time to the point where I couldn't make new friends. Like it was all about them and I let it happen. Like that's the worst part, is I let it fucking happen. Like, God, how did I let those people in my life? Why? And it's always because we're missing something, and they can see that we're missing something. So they just get right in there. You know, it's horrible. And also note that, you know, just because someone has drug alcohol problem does not make them a narcissist. However, it could be both. Absolutely. I just wanted to point that out. Okay. Karma gets everybody, whether we like it or not, and it's not up to us to decide who gets what, unfortunately. I do have a session on karma. Go look at that. That was interesting as well. It could be true, Drew, like maybe all the ones are, but I mean, honestly, not all of them have those issues. It's really weird. Ooh, Emmy, you called them your bully. I find that very interesting. We're learning something, all of us. I'm learning stuff. I learned something incredibly important tonight in this chat with the people that have posted is that I'm right. I made a few statements that were bang on, so bang on. It's just like a huge awakening for me, like incredible, truly incredible. And I thank you guys for posting, for making me see some things very clearly. And just, it's awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here. And to those who weren't in the live chat who are coming after the session, I thank you for being here and for sharing your stories too. I've got a lot that I'm going to be sharing. I keep saying that to you guys is like, don't forget. Don't forget. I have a lot of shit. And I hope everybody finds what they're looking for in life and finds their inner peace and strength and is able to teach what they've learned. And I really do. I really do. When will I go live next to do readings? What's today? Saturday? Probably Monday. Over there at Intuitive Pathways and Instagram. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Really. I wish, I don't know. I feel like I was all over the place because that's how we are when we're dealing with that. So I apologize for being like topic here, topic here. It's like ADHD when it comes to this stuff for me. Like certain topics are real easy to stay on point, but like today it's like, oh my God, I have so much to say. And that's why I need to have a trilogy, You are welcome, Julie, everybody. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I've learned some things, very, very amazing things tonight too. Oh my God, right? Stop apologizing. That's hilarious. Good, thank you. Kathy, that's awesome to know because man, ooh, Janet, 4:30. Oh my God, my love. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my goodness. 50 Shades of Narcissism. You got that shit right. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I'm reading some of these comments. Happy Mother's Day, everybody who's a mommy or grandmommy, stepmommy, half mommy. I don't know what the fuck you are. Oh, thank you guys. I swear to God, normally I take more time. I'm painting at home. I take more time to write my notes now. I just literally could not get all my thoughts out quick enough, Chrissy, calm. What do you mean? Fur baby. Still, same thing. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, you guys are so welcome. I'm reading your comments. That's why I'm not talking right now. It's like real boring over here. Yeah, I'm trying to like take it in. I'm trying to take it in. I Did you paint the piece behind you? No, I did not. That's not me. I'm not a painter. I like painting walls in my home. Yeah. Those aren't me. No, no, I'm not a painter. I just was painting the house. I swear. I'm sorry. I'm not that talented. But this one I picked up at a home store. It was nice, you know. I always say whatever comes out of my mouth was meant to be said. If it offends people, what the fuck am I supposed to do about it? Yes, Chrissy, that's what I was asking. I want you to be very clear and specific with what you were talking about. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, there's those people. I'm never going to feel suicidal ever. Ever. Light burner, thank you. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm sorry. Okay. No cards tonight. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry, Christine. That's awful. Yeah. It is empowering to be able to talk about my experiences without having anybody try and pull me down. That's wonderful. I'm reading. It is real talk. And yeah, I mean, all the time people get offended by me because I just blurt shit out and it's okay. Oh, I'm told all the time, like, oh, I'm so hard to deal with, you know. So what? You know? I'm so sorry, you guys. I know I talk a lot. I know people can't handle me all the time. It's not my problem. Love weight, if that were true, I would have more people who understood me in my life. I don't, you know, I got more people that want me to be different. I believe that too. Better to be blunt than bullshit. At least people know where they stand with me. Healing. Oh gosh. So we didn't actually talk about healing. And then I swear I'm going to let you go. We've been on forever. Healing is a personal journey. And I feel like there's no time frame. And there's not like a list of things you must do to be a healed person, right? I almost believe that we're never truly healed from a situation unless you don't even think about it anymore. But it's like, does it matter? I guess, does it matter? Like, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, as long as you get your peace of mind and you feel comfortable with yourself and you feel comfortable moving forward with new people, whether it's a new love, a new friend, whatever, you know, new job, then you're good. Let me tell you something about not caring what others think. Narcissists do, they care. Me, I do this like back and forth thing because I'm a person. That's all we do. Like, we're not like consistent with that. But for the most part, when it comes, when it comes to my career path, I literally do not care what other people think when it comes to my, my direction and what I want to do, how I want to do it. I care about your feedback based on, you being, someone that likes what I do, I guess, a fan, or however you want to put it. I care about that kind of feedback. What you want to see more of, less of, or what kind of topics you want to talk about, stuff like that. But when it comes to my direction, it's like, I know exactly who I am, what I want. And it's taken me a lot. It's taken me a lot of years, my whole life. You know what I mean? When it comes to my soul, don't bow to no one. I got it. So, all right, I'm going to let you guys go now. And I'm going to just say for enlightening me as well. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys. And hopefully you've hit the subscribe button on this channel. This is a good channel. This is the channel where we get to share and be a part of something bigger than, ourselves. And we get to, commiserate to a degree. We don't want to be too crazy. But anyway, I will be back really soon with my story time. And I will see you guys on Monday for readings. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. And everybody else who's not a mother, just thank you so much for being here. Bye.